About SAG-AFTRA. Hi, I'm Lorrie. Okay, let's talk about SAG-AFTRA and all of the things associated with it. It's a very complicated and confusing subject, but we are going to do our very best to break it down for you. First off, SAG-AFTRA is an acronym that stands for Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. Whew, that's a mouthful. Both SAG and AFTRA are union organizations for artists. It's a labor union, and that's why union is often used synonymously with SAG-AFTRA. Just like any other labor union, it protects its members' interests. Only instead of construction workers or teachers, SAG-AFTRA's members include actors, journalists, radio personalities, recording artists, singers, voice actors, internet, and influencers. It works on the behalf of its collective memberships to negotiate and enforce contracts to ascertain fairness and equality on a production set. SAG-AFTRA's mission statement is as follows. SAG-AFTRA is committed to organizing all work done under our jurisdiction, negotiating the best wages, working conditions, and health and pension benefits, preserving and expanding members' work opportunities, vigorously enforcing our contracts, and protecting members against unauthorized use of their work. If you are not SAG-AFTRA, then you are termed in the industry as non-union. When you are non-union, you can be eligible for SAG-eligible, also known as SAG-E or SE. We'll touch on that a little bit later. There are pros and cons for being a SAG-AFTRA member. The same is true for actors who elect to remain non-union. For example, when you're working on a union production, there's higher pay and benefits. There is a SAG union representative on site. This representative will make sure that SAG-AFTRA actors have proper breaks, eat when they're supposed to, and generally made comfortable on the set per contractual specifications. To put it bluntly, it is expensive to join SAG-AFTRA, and you will be limited to your access to other non-union opportunities. Now, if you decide to join SAG-AFTRA, they will give you a SAG card, and you must abide by global rule number 1. So it's important to understand what that means. In short, global rule number 1 is that SAG-AFTRA members are prohibited from working any non-union job. Many people do it anyway, but they're not supposed to. When they knowingly violate global rule number 1, they are operating what is termed in the industry as working off the card. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. But right now, let's get back to SAG-AFTRA, or SAG as most people call it. SAG is just for talent. Most major productions are SAG-AFTRA productions. These productions can employ both SAG background actors and non-union background actors. Non-union background acting is lower paying, but in addition to the low pay, non-union actors must be given a Taft-Hartley waiver, okaying them to be on a SAG set. Number 1, now if your daddy is rich, or you have a sugar daddy, or you have an inheritance from your grandmother, or some kind of sponsor, then cost would not be a consideration for you. However, if cost is not a consideration, but you live in a small market and you want to get credits for your resume, then it's a personal decision that you have to make. Number 2, now, if you don't have a sponsor, rich daddy, sugar daddy, or a wealthy grandmother, money will be a consideration for you because you have to pay your bills and you have to pay to get to auditions. But if you live in LA, New York, Atlanta, or Chicago and are getting SAG work regularly, money may or may not be a consideration for you. There's plenty of SAG work in other places, but also plenty of competition. Golden rule number 1 says SAG members cannot work non-union jobs. In addition, you have to pay SAG-AFTRA initiation fees and regularly pay SAG-AFTRA dues. However, if you don't have money, the bottom line is, can you afford to join SAG? Not just the associated fees, but all of the circumstances around it.